Valhalla is a visual novel released in 2016, developed by Sukaban Games. In Glitch City, a future dystopia ruled by corporations, you play as Jill. Jill is a bartender in a small bar named Valhalla. Jill is no hero, has no part in the story of Glitch City. She's just dealing with her own life and her own problems, and the dynamic contrast between the small bar and the clients and their stories is really refreshing. You're encouraged by the game, and I also encourage you, to play this game slowly and take the time to sink into the world. That being said, once I started playing Valhalla, I was hooked. I played it for hours and finished it over a weekend. Playing Valhalla was an escape for me, but not in a typical sense of escaping my problems. It was escaping to a place where people shared my problems and concerns and talked about them. It was really comforting. In truth, Jill and the cast's problems were all problems I could relate to. Being alone, feeling fulfilled, earning a living wage, existentialism, and learning how to enjoy the smaller moments. Seeing these characters in a safe space and hearing them so openly talk about their problems was really nice. Parts of it felt like therapy, and there were even certain lessons I took from this game. The bar is the perfect setting for bar talk and for venting, so the dialogue always felt natural. I loved every single character in the game. They were all complex and really well written. It felt like I was talking to real people dealing with real problems and relationships. I wanted to be there to help them through their problems, and in turn they all helped me with mine. Despite Jill seeing most of the characters only while working at the bar, they all share stories about places and events outside the bar. This gives you the sense of the world around you and the kind of city Glitch City is. You'll even be able to connect the dots between the kinds of relationships the game's characters will have with each other. Not only did the game address internal problems, but external societal problems as well. Glitch City takes existing current world problems and creates future scenarios that reflect and accentuate them. It creates parallels to things like inflation, late-stage capitalism, and gang and police violence. Once again, this game felt like an escape because it was fulfilling being in a space where these issues are being talked about, and the characters of the story are experiencing these issues firsthand. Due to the small scale of the bar, all these heavy topics are delivered in a personal and digestible way. The main gameplay involves mixing and serving drinks to the clients of the bar. You're given a menu that can be organized by name, flavor, and type of drink. By selecting a drink from the menu, you'll have a list of ingredients needed to serve the drink. The tutorial did a good job introducing me to the mechanic, and I found no problems learning and adjusting to it. The genius of the mechanic sets in when you realize one of the ingredients, karmatrine, is the alcoholic factor of the drink. It doesn't have a taste, but it has the effect. There will be times where you can choose what kind of drinks you serve, or even how much karmatrine you can put into the drink. This allows you to change the conversation you have with your clients. If you want to continue a serious conversation, maybe you lay off the karmatrine. Maybe you add lots of karmatrine to loosen the lips of a client, to have them say something they may not have said sober. You're encouraged to read between the lines and experiment with the drinks you serve, and are rewarded with new kinds of conversations. This is one of the most unique aspects of this game. This type of choice is way more immersive than the traditional dialogue choices. It is relevant to the setting, and it's an organic result of your actions. Between workdays, you'll spend some time in Jill's room as she browses different apps on her phone. These apps further flesh out the world and are updated with different articles and threads each day. Taking the time to just sit and read in these sections brought me even closer to Jill as she comments on every article she reads. The articles further immerse me in the world as they talk about news and events happening around you. Between shifts, Jill will have her mind on something, that being the electric bill, rent, or just something she saw that she wants to buy. You can use the money you get from working at the bar to purchase things for Jill. Purchasing these things will decorate her apartment and allow Jill to focus better while at work to remember the client's orders. This is such a subtle mechanic that I loved. If Jill is focused, you'll get additional thoughts from her regarding the client's request, both peeking into her mind and giving you hints on what to make. If Jill isn't focused, however, you the player have to focus on the dialogue and can still make the proper drink, but you'll miss out on the subtle or more obscure requests. Valhalla's soundtrack blew me away. Created by Garode, the soundtrack is filled with retro synth, jazz, and rock influences. For every mood in the game, there are plenty of tracks that reflect it. Before every shift, you can set tracks to play on the bar's jukebox. While talking and serving drinks to the clients at the bar, songs can be shuffled, skipped, or replayed. Because the soundtrack was so good and so varied, I enjoyed finding the songs that felt right to fit the current mood. The sprite work is gorgeous. The character sprites are all varied and detailed. However, they're lacking in animation. Generally, they use a single sprite and animate the eye and mouth movements. While functional, I feel the game could have benefited a bit if it had more variety in sprites for general expressions. They rarely change and do so during specific moments. While places outside the bar aren't too common, when they are shown it's a treat. A lot of the game uses neon pink and blues, and sells that retro cyberpunk vibe of the older Japanese PC-98 adventure games it's inspired by. I ended up resonating a lot with this game, and I'm so glad I played it. It was an unforgettable experience filled with well-written, realistic characters, and a heavy and oppressive, fleshed-out world. If you are at all interested in this game, be it the story or the aesthetic, I highly recommend you check it out.